In the next game I would like to show you, you will see that in some chess positions, one piece could, under circumstances, even without kingside attack involved, be stronger than many pieces of the opponent. And this happens due to the reasons we will probably never understand, and the composers call this geometrical motif, because they do not know what to call it. It just happens in chess like this, and in order to understand this, I ask you to take a look at the board. This is a position from my game against Henkin in Moscow, 2001, and basically it is a pretty equal position. Not much is going on, it is pretty symmetrical. He has two bishops, I have two bishops, and in order to liven things up a bit, I saw that I have a possibility of bishop a3. Now the idea which lies on the surface is b takes a3, queen c3. If this were all, I would not be showing you this example. There is basically more to this than that. After bishop a3, what white can do is also pretty obvious. In fact, he can use the fact that the queen on a5 and bishop on a3 are on the same file and play rook a1, creating some serious unpleasantness for black along the a file. And what could black possibly do in this position? He could save the piece by playing rook c3, but then bc3, white would be exchanged up, and black would still have a horrible problem with his bishop on a3. And in fact, looking at this position, it is not clear where black could get any tactical ideas from. In fact, white king is secure, and all his pieces are protected. But it just happens in chess, and that's what they call geometry, for the lack of a better word, that one piece can do miracles, and that's exactly what happens in this case after bishop takes b2. And now, of course, queen takes b2, queen c3 is not what white wants. And after rook takes a5, bishop c3, we have exactly what I was mentioning before. White is a queen up for one piece alone, and there is a rook on a5, and rook on e1, and queen on d2 hanging. And it would be enough for white just to get any material for the loss of a rook, but amazingly enough, he cannot do this. If he goes to a2, protecting the rook on a5, I get the full rook on e1. If he tries to protect the rook on e1, I get a full rook on a5. And in both cases, I would have rook, piece, and two strong passed pawns for a queen, being strategically almost winning. So let's take a look at this position again. It's amazing. Black only has one piece for the queen, and there is no attack involved, no kingside attack involved, and still black is somehow winning. I'm somehow probably shocked when he saw this line. Henkin tried to get an improved version of this line by a pretty panicky reaction of bishop h6. Or maybe he was attracted by a certain symmetry of what we were doing. I hit bishop a3, and maybe he wanted to prove that he's basically able to do the same, and he did bishop h6, but there was actually no reason for this. In fact, white could use the fact that after rook a1, bishop b2, rook a5, bishop c3, rook on e1 is hanging, and in order to improve on this line, he could play rook takes e6 in this position. a1, b2. No, not queen c3 is the same, but rook a5. Bishop c3, there is no rook hanging on e1 anymore. And after queen a2, protecting the rook on a5, white is winning. So as I was also mentioning before in our previous examples, the correct calculation of one line could give us answers what to do in other lines. And we saw that the fact that the rook on e1 was hanging in one line could help white to find the solution with rook e6. In fact, after rook e6, I would be probably forced to take bishop takes b2, queen takes b2, f takes c6, and now white has two very strong bishops for a rook and two pawns, and it would be just a sharp fight, which I was ready to go for. But in fact, in the game, as I said, Hengman took bishop h6, and after g takes h6, the same trick worked. Rook a1, bishop b2, rook a5, bishop c3. And now, as we said, white cannot protect both rooks at the same time. At the queen h6, bishop e1, black already has a serious material advantage. He has a rook, bishop, knight, and two passed pawns for one queen, which is basically enough to win the game. And in the game, nothing much happened till the end, and black managed to realize his advantage. Now, basically, this example is to demonstrate that very serious sacrifices can also be based on some unusual motive, not only on king's attack. As we saw in this case, queen was sacrificed for one knight alone, and just a very serious misplacement of white pieces in the final position enabled black to do this. And after this excursion into the world of unusual tactics, we will probably return to more common lines in our next lecture.